What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Yarn Craig, where I cover everything from NBA, WNBA basketball, all basketball in between, guys. So if you're interested in that kind of content, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. And today I'm going to be talking about WNBA's basketball star Diamond Deshields, and ESPN aired a story on her maybe a week or two ago, and I really wanted to do something back then, but I was just so busy and running. But she has a truly inspirational story that I had like you had no clue. And I guess her team, they held all this stuff back purposely, and I can understand why. So if you guys didn't see the story, you understand that she had um, a tumor in her spine that she had to have removed, and with this tumor, basically, there was the risk that she wouldn't be able to play basketball again. Let Forget basketball, let alone even just be able to walk. So, just a and before I get too deep into it, just a quick little backdrop on her career before the spinal surgery, before the tumor, guys. It's like she she came in as a pretty highly touted rookie. I think in 2018 she was drafted. She averaged 14 points per game rookie season, which is in the WNBA coming in. That's excellent. That's top production. What you could expect from a rookie. Um, she was a WNBA All Star after that. I think she won the WNBA Skills Challenge. She went on to W All NBA second team, which pretty much puts her pretty much at the pinnacle of the sport, with the top 10, 15 players in the WNBA. And she was pretty much athletically, debatably the most gifted athlete maybe in the WNBA, just as far as from a pound for pound pure athleticism standpoint. Her athleticism was pretty much top notch. But all of this was threatened when when it was discovered that she had a tumor. That if you watch the documentary, or the short story, they pretty much said she was playing in Turkey and somebody bumped her. She felt something in her back. They ended up discovering she had a tumor. She had the surgery. And guys, the footage that they showed of her afterwards, the video footage of her after the surgery, it was, to me, it was heartbreaking. Like, my heart sank. And just to think that somebody actually came back from this, you have to literally see the images to see just how impactful it was. So she suffered from tremors, spasms, and she just had a huge loss of general motor skills. She couldn't walk anymore. So she literally had to learn how to walk again. So obviously all of this took time. They're showing the video footage of her, holding on to rails, walking. I think they're throwing like little tennis balls to her for her to catch, just to, keep her motor skills going. They're having to pick her up out of the bed, and she's just constantly just shaking uncontrollably. And it's not something that, we look at athletes and almost think peak physicality, peak athleticism, their peak health. And to see somebody debilitated in this sense was really, it's shocking, eye-opening, but it's also, I guess, a reality check. And that reality check existing pretty much that all of us have, like, this is one of those cases where sports kind of parallels, life outside of sports too, where it's like we all have these mountains that end up getting put in front of us, and we have to make a decision about, well, are we going to go through this mountain, or are we just going to stay here on this side? Because the doctors literally told her, hey, there's a chance that you may not be able to play basketball again. Actually, to top that, they said, hey, there's a chance you may not be able to walk again. That's the threat that exists with this surgery. So, one, she had to, take the risk of having the surgery. And two, if she wanted to come back and play basketball, the road to recovery was going to be very hard. So she decided to go through both of those things. She decided to go through the surgery. She decided to go through recovery. And the first time she came back, from training and recovering, she pretty much said in the video she wasn't fully recovered, but she was like, shoot, forget it. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm gonna try doing what I love to do. 10 or 11 games into the WNBA's bubble, somebody bumped her. She fell on the floor. She started having spasms and tremors again. They had to carry her off. She took 8 months off after that. Came back in the next season with the Chicago Sky, and she ended up having to transition from a starting role to a bench role. But in the midst of all of this, for all of you who watched the WNBA last season, you know that the Chicago Sky ended up winning the WNBA championship. And Diamond Deshields played a key part in that, coming off the bench, giving them good energy, being active on defense, if you guys watched and saw. But there was a quote that she had where she stated, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but she was basically stating that I never pictured myself playing in the WNBA finals and not being on the floor when the whistle blows, because she was used to being a starter and a star pretty much, but now she was coming off the bench. But fast forward, right after that, she stated, but hold on, let's not be so hard on yourself, because what she went through to get there was something that, most people, most athletes, they don't have to go through that kind of valley to get back to this type of level professionally. And again, she started pretty much back at point A and had to come all the way, to catch up with where everybody else was at. So I think that this is one of those cases where we can really take from her example of, despite what we're struggling with, despite what we're going through in our careers, professions, lives, if you're an athlete, whatever the case may be, you don't know what that valley is going to look like for you. But there has to be some sort of perseverance. There has to be some sort of strength that you can draw from that is going to get you over the hump. And in her case, her diligence, her hard work, whatever else she was doing, she was willing to do and dedicate herself to get herself through that ridiculously hard point. And I think all of us have some sort of God given talent, ability to do whatever it is we're meant to do, while we're here on this earth. But the question is you may have the talent and ability, but do you have the mentality? Do you have the diligence? Do you have the dedication? Do you have the passion to actually go through and pursue it? And this was a great case. She didn't get there, and it didn't happen exactly how she planned it. But if she would have never tried to go through if she did not go as hard as she did in the recovery process, if she didn't get the surgery and just sat and like, I don't want to risk, any nerve damage, just let it sit there. I think they said the tumor was benign, so there was a chance she could have let it sit there, but there was still the risk she would have been paralyzed either way. But either way, my point is that she had the courage to try to run through it all, and she succeeded in the fact that she was diligent about what she was doing. So I think when we meet those challenges, guys, it's like we just have to be diligent and pushing forward with whatever we're doing, and we can't worry about the setbacks, and we can't worry about the failures. It's part of the process, because we don't know for each of us like what setback and what failure we may bump into. There's no telling what your low may actually be. But what's guaranteed is once you make it on the other side of that mountain, the other side of the rainbow, so to speak, once you make it on the other side of that, there's also no telling what that ceiling is. And in her case, she reached the pinnacle of the sport by winning the WNBA championship in her first full season back. So, guys, it's like don't sell yourself short of what it is that you may be working with, what you have inside of you. You got one life to live. I say you live it. You do whatever you do to the best of your abilities. And her case, truly an inspiring story. It inspired me, you know, to not just simply just do better, but to just simply persevere. Because there's a lot of people who just they would never have returned back to playing basketball after something like that. They would have just been happy with just simply being able to walk. But in that video, what stood out to me, one of the main standouts was that, the doctor is like, we don't know if you're going to be able to walk again, and blah, 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 blah. And she was like, walk? She's like, I'm trying to run. That step forward mentality, guys. I say, let's embody that and move forward. Whatever your dreams, passions are, move forward with that mentality. Be relentless. Be relentless with whatever you're pursuing, guys. Um, that's my video. I'm not going to stretch it too much longer than that because I think I got my point across. If you guys have not watched that Diamond Deshields story, go ahead and check it out, y'all. Peace.